photography. So this week is going to be a little different. I'm going to be basically just kind of introducing you guys to me as a person and as a photographer. So I wanted to first discuss why I started doing photography. I was probably, I think, 13 or 14, and my parents got me this little purple plastic little camera, nothing too crazy, fairly cheaply made, but I loved it. And it was at that point I started taking, pictures of myself, pictures of my friends, just in general things around town, and I really started to enjoy what I was doing. So I wanted to continue it, but I really didn't have the funds to go out and get like a Nikon or a Canon or a really cool DSLR camera. So I waited and I waited, and eventually my senior year of high school, my cousins came into town, and her husband have, or at the time had, I don't know if they still do it or not, I think they do, but it's more film, a photography business. And she came down and she shot my senior portraits. Now, seeing her gorgeous DSLR camera, I fell in love. And being able to use it to take a couple snapshots at the beach, it was at that point where I was like, okay, that's it, I'm hooked, I have to do it. And at this point I was a senior, so I was probably about 16, 17. I honestly don't remember. High school was so long ago. But anyways, I really fell in love with it. And I do believe it was shortly after that my parents ended up seeing how much I really enjoyed photography. They got me my Olympus camera, and eventually they did get me the Canon Rebel T3i, which ironically, an inside joke with my family, not really an inside joke, it's on Facebook every year. My dad did a dad joke, he used to call it the Canon Rebel T-Rex. So he got this old Civil War Canon thing that he always had on his desk, and he put a T-Rex riding on top of it with a rebel flag. And that's just kind of, he put that in the Canon box instead of the camera itself. So when I saw the box, I unwrapped it at Christmas. And I was just like, oh my gosh, you guys got me a camera. And I opened the box and it was this. I'm like, there's no way. There's no way you guys have the box but you don't have the camera. You're messing with me. And they brought out the actual camera, and I've been obsessed ever since after that, of being able to go out on my own, use my own gear, and take my own photos. And that's just kind of where it all started. It branched out really quickly after my cousin let me use her camera. So I could definitely thank Becky for that. But I basically, since then, I took a little bit of a break when my husband and I moved to California because he was in the Navy at the time, and I really didn't do much out there because there wasn't really much I wanted to get settled on, because I knew that wasn't our final station that we were going to be at. I wanted to wait till we were settled and I had more experience to really get out and make my business a business. That's why I waited until we moved out here, moved back here to our hometown 2 years ago. I think it's been a little over 2 years now. But when we moved back, I finally started to buckle down, do my own thing, firmly make it into a business. And it's been growing slowly but surely ever since. I have gotten moments where I've been discouraged, because I see all the other photographers in my area and they're phenomenal at what they do, and their editing and their posing. And I just literally had one set goal, which was to be at the level of everybody around me. And I think that was something that helped me to grow and push myself, and I didn't want to stay in the same spot because I didn't see them staying in the same spot. They were excelling, they were booking, they were growing, and I wanted that for my business. So some helpful resources that I did do in order to do that was some different options for my website. That was one of the first things I did, was try to find a good website. I went through probably 4 different places to attempt to get a website made, and everything was just either super expensive or not really able to customize, didn't really have a whole lot of options, until I came across Pixieset. And that is definitely a website builder that I highly, highly recommend to any photographers, whether you're starting out or you're experienced and you still can't find a decent web page to use. Pixieset. I'm able to, which I don't do everything on there. I do my website, I run my client contracts through there. You can also do your bookings. You can also pay invoices, send out invoices, all of that through that area. I do my invoices through Square. That's another thing that I've used, because you just sign up and you get a free card reader. And I set up the account. I've been using it ever since. It's super easy to help track what you're paying with your taxes with it. They give you the forms and everything in general when it comes to your yearly tax forms. It's super, super helpful. So I use Square for my Square for my invoices and just general purchases and stuff for my company. I use Pixieset for my website and my contracts. And I use PicTime for my clients' galleries that I email out. And I used to, and I hate it, it makes me cringe when I think about the fact that I used to do this. I used to send out my clients their photos through Facebook Messenger. And then when I realized that was garbage, I went to emailing them, but I could only fit like 2 or 3 pictures in an email at a time, and they were very easily able to be lost, and they downgraded the quality. So it was then I'm just like, if I'm gonna be successful, I need to put money back into my company to get something good out of it. So I started going with PicTime. And I don't even know if I pay for PicTime, quite frankly. I know I pay for Pixieset. I don't know about PicTime. I'll have to look into that. But PicTime is awesome because it's so easy to upload your galleries. It keeps it all right there in your interface. You can use it from your phone. You can use it from your laptop. It's so, so, so simple. And they can order prints and different like memory books and everything like that off of that website. So you send them their link, they click on their album, they can go download what they want. It lets you know what they downloaded. You can see what they didn't, to kind of maybe gauge, hey, should I keep shooting like this angle? Nobody seems to really download that specific pose. Maybe I shouldn't do that. That's kind of what I've used it for. So those 3 things are something that I have really dove into using, because it's been a massive help on making my photography business look very professional, very clean, very neat, and very just, it's very much easier for me as well as the photographer. Some struggles that I have faced with becoming a photographer have been most definitely just trying to compete and make myself look the exact same as everybody in the area. And I live in Northwest Florida. We are so overly saturated with photographers. It's insane. And we're all so very talented in our own ways. We all have different editing styles to an extent. And it's just something that I struggled with because I still didn't have an editing style that was set. I knew I wanted things bright. I knew I wanted things fairly airy. I knew I wanted them vibrant. And that was about the extent of it. And I was still learning how to use Lightroom. So it was a huge learning curve for me, really turning it into a business, because when clients look at your stuff, they want it to all look the same editing, because a lot of times they come to you for your editing style. They like the way your photos look, the way they're bright, or the way they're moody, or just however you want to edit. They look at that because they want that style to maybe match their home decor, because they might print these out and hang them up. I have multiple clients that have printed out photos I've taken, and it matches with their home decor because they wanted it printed out, framed, whatever they want to do with it, and they're hanging up in their house. So being able to sit there and tell myself I don't have to be like all the other photographers around me was a huge thing I had to buckle down and think about. Because I would sit here and see all of these gorgeous photographers booking constantly, just day after day. And I was just like, well, why can't I do that? What's wrong with me? And that actually ended up forcing me to keep going. I did get discouraged for a little bit. I stopped for a few weeks, and then I'm like, I love what I do. I'm not gonna stop. So I got back into it, and I started doing online courses. I started really buckling down. I started learning everything I had to do with my camera to get the shots that I wanted to get. I started really going and diving deep into Lightroom and how to make my own preset the way I want it, to where I can edit things and get my clients their photos back within 24 to 48 hours. And that turnaround time is a massive plus with my clients. So because I didn't give up and I used that struggle to dig deeper, I was able to grow my business, find my editing style, and learn my camera the way that I needed to become a legitimate professional photographer. So if you're struggling with that and you're struggling with finding your own, YouTube. Not just saying that because this is on YouTube, but in general, that's where I found all of my stuff. I didn't go online and pay for these courses. I went on to Facebook pages and asked questions. I went onto YouTube pages and I looked up, hey, how do I do this? Tips for this, ideas for this. And being able to take basically online courses, which is just watching these videos and being able to practice and do things on your own camera while you're watching them, and just being able to go and apply it to real life was a massive learning experience for me. Like, it was a huge help. I can't even say how big of a help it was. And I didn't have to dive hundreds of dollars into these online courses that I may or may not understand, and it may or may not help me. I looked up what I needed. I knew specifically what I wanted to, learn about, and I was able to do that. So if you're struggling, take some YouTube courses, play around with your camera, whether, it's just in your house or you go outside to a park, do something with it, adjust your settings, take it off of auto, put that puppy on manual, you will not regret it. And I do recommend shooting in RAW or JPEG RAW because it opens it up so much when you're going in to edit. You have so much more data to play with and to adjust lighting, fix your exposure, fix everything you need to kind of, fiddle around with. It makes it so much easier to do all that because when you're shooting and it's just in like JPEG format, you don't have as much to play around with. So I highly advise just learn your camera. Don't get discouraged. Don't look and compare yourself to everybody else. Just remember, you are your own photographer. You're gonna make a name for yourself in the way that you need to, and you will grow when it's your time to grow, but you have to put in the work, you have to put in the effort, and it doesn't necessarily mean spending hundreds of dollars on courses. It can be seen in a couple of YouTube videos for free. So something I want to cover to end the video is my future goals as a photographer. I am still very much growing. I'm still very much learning. I'm getting further into my newborn photography, not just my family and children photography. I'm pushing more newborn, and I just recently got into weddings. I haven't shot a wedding in a long time, so it's scary. But I do want to push further into the wedding arena and work more on my newborn photography and really finally honing that craft, which it's a whole other ball game because I do in studio a majority of the time. But just in general, goals are just to get a new lens that I'm looking forward to getting, my 24-70 millimeter, and just growing as a photographer, getting more clients, opening up my business to more options for things for my clients to book more. Just in general, getting my business out there, pushing myself more to get in front of my camera, doing things like this that I hate doing because I don't like being in front of my camera. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Go ahead and leave a thumbs up, share the video, like the video, subscribe to my channel. We do videos every Tuesday, and I will see you guys next week.